Greetings, bass players. Josh Fossgreen here. I wanted to talk about something that came to mind because, as you've seen in my last couple videos, which I shoot these in batches, so don't think that my finger's been messed up for a whole month because it hasn't been. But as I mentioned, I messed up my finger getting too excited playing along with the Victor Wooten video, and so I taped it up today so I would stop accidentally using it so it would actually recover. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about the topic of using limitations to actually develop your bass playing and your musicality, because it's something that's really important to me conceptually and philosophically, muso-philosophically, if I can use that made-up word. And I think it might be helpful to talk about. I'm going to try not to philosophize abstractly too much. I just want to share a few ideas and then actually give you some ideas that you can play with, so you'll come out of this video with something you can actually do and not just listen to me talk for however long. Okay, so basically my approach with limitations is to use it as an opportunity to develop. And there's lots of different limitations that we experience that you might be experiencing right now. I've had people write to me over the years who are missing fingers from accidents, or they have some kind of birth defect, or whatever language you want to use to describe it, where they don't have the normal physical situation for playing their bass, or whatever it is. There's a number of obstacles we face in this life, as all of you know. There's basically, to me, there's two things I can do when I'm faced with one of these limitations. One is I can just say, whatever, I guess I just won't play bass until this limitation goes away. It's one option. The other option is, all right, interesting, so I was counting on this ability that now I don't have, like this situation right now. What can I do to work around that? And for me, that second strategy is a lot more fruitful because you keep playing bass, first of all, and second of all, by you forcing your mind to find new ways to do things, I think it really benefits you musically over time. So that's kind of the overview. I want to just give you some specific examples because some of this is stuff you're going to come up against in your lifetime. So let me just talk about this issue. So first of all, what I've got on here, it's called rock tape. It's just a kinesiological tape. It helps bring like circulation and whatnot to the area. I'm not a physiology expert, but I also just put it there so I wouldn't accidentally do stuff with it and forget to let it heal. So basically, I keep playing bass. I wanted to make videos for you today. I had a rehearsal a couple nights ago. And I still need to play, but I don't have my main. I normally alternate with two fingers, which is the traditional plucking technique, and I don't have that available to me right now. So again, I have the option, whatever, I guess I'll just not play bass until it's better. Or what's more interesting, and I tend to just do this because I can't stand to not play bass, is I think, all right, well, what are my options? I could alternate with my middle and ring finger, which is what I've been doing a lot, which is why you can hear a little sloppy playing on the videos where I have this tape on, because I've spent years alternating index middle and not so much time alternating like this. And what I like about that is that, you could spend your whole life playing bass and you'll never be perfect at everything. And you could be a total shredder with your index and middle, but all of a sudden switch up this one variable where you shift your plucking over one finger, and all of a sudden it takes you, 5 years back or something, and now you have to really pay attention to your alternating again. And I find a lot of times I learn new useful things when I have to do that, even if once my index finger heals, I'm going to go back to two-finger alternating. And I used to have to do this a lot when I was first learning the slap technique too, because I'd get so many blisters and lose so much skin on my popping finger from doing the pop technique. And so I would exhaust my index finger, and then when it was too blistery and painful, I would start popping with my middle finger, and then that would get blistery and painful. Then, all right, well, I want to keep playing bass, so it's third finger. And sometimes I even got all the way down to the pinky. Oh God, that hurts. The reason I say this in the past tense is because eventually I stopped blistering and stuff, and just developed my super duper ultra callus that's invisible and invincible. But if you really want to play bass, again, my meta point here is that I think you should do it, and just screw the limitations. Like turn them into something you can learn from. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. I don't want to make this all about poor me and my poor finger. I just want to run through some other things that happen. Another thing that happens sometimes is you might hurt a finger on your left hand, which introduces its own challenges, because unlike with the right hand, where most of the time you're using these two and not using these guys so you can just drop them in, generally you're using all four of your non-thumb fingers on your left hand. So if you have one of them that's hurting too much to fret, or maybe you were born without a finger, or you lost one in an accident or something. So, let's say you're only working with 3 fingers, like you don't have a pinky available for whatever reason, injury or birth situation or whatever. I have all my fingers, and I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. I have all my fingers, and I still think it's interesting sometimes to see if I can play something without one of my fingers. Like normally I would play a minor scale like that, 1, 3, 4. What if I don't have a pinky? All right, well now I guess I have to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Or what if I don't have a ring finger? Then I have to go. Or what if my index finger's hurting? Then now I need to go 2, 3, 4, and do a lot more shifting, because it's hard to do the stretch between those fingers that I would normally do elsewhere. So I really just approach it with curiosity, and I think that if you try a little bit of that, you might find some of the benefits that I've found from doing it. And another reason I wanted to make this video is because I've had people write to me who are actually missing body parts you would use to play bass, like thumbs and fingers, or they have fingers fused together, whatever it is. And my advice every time is just work around it. Django Reinhardt, I can't remember if he always had 2 fingers to work with or if he had an accident, but a lot of the stuff you hear Django, great gypsy jazz guitarist, playing, he's doing that stuff with 2 fingers, which I can't even, maybe there's video of it or something, I should find it sometime, but it's really amazing to know that, and to hear how beautiful and flowing and fast his playing was with 2 fingers on his left hand. So I just don't think there's any good excuse to let a limitation keep you from playing bass, basically. So some other things, like, let's say that your whole right hand's out of commission, like you broke an elbow or something, and you just can't use your fingers because the tendon movement messes with an injury or something. Or maybe you don't have a right arm, or whatever it is. So, all right, let's see what happens. So, okay, so I don't have a second hand here. So I have to do a more percussive hammer-on tapping thing with my left hand to compensate. And I can still play perfectly good bass, and maybe I can't do the stuff I'm used to doing, but I can work around it, and maybe I'll come up with, and let's say that you have a temporary injury and then your right hand comes back online eventually. You might develop a couple cool left hand skills that'll actually benefit you when you're in your non-injured state. Like, you might get better at like tapping repeated notes over and over. And then you can kind of play with that once your other hand's back in commission. And there's a guy actually who lost part of his arm in some kind of industrial accident. I think his name is Bill Clements. You can find him on YouTube. And he's developed a lot of tapping techniques around that as well. And also, another thing with the one hand thing, in case that's the situation you're in, it's really helpful to put either like a hairband or some kind of mute somewhere on the bass to help with muting, since one of the things that's really helpful with the two-handed technique is that you can use one hand to keep other strings from ringing while your other hand's occupied. So you can use little technological tricks like that too. Another thing I really like to think about is, all right, what if I'm on a gig and I break my A string, which I'm not gonna break my A string for you, but I'm just gonna take it out of commission. So I wonder what that sounds like. Oh, I like that. All right, so my A string's out of commission. So what if I was playing something where I was going like, well, of course now I've already detuned it. All right, here we go again. All right, let's say I was playing this. Just kind of a simple chromatic walking line where I'm playing, you know, a lot of notes on the A string, then all of a sudden, oh crap, there goes my A string. All right, well, where can I find those notes? All right, up a string, down 5 frets. Oops. See, then you have to think about it. So I decided to just find those notes on the E string. Because the music doesn't have to stop just because your A string broke. You could even throw some broken A string sounds in there if you want to. So pretending that you have broken strings is kind of fun to practice. You can actually take the string off your bass too if you feel like it. This is something that's fun to do if you're putting on new strings also. You know, just put on the E and G string only and see what you can do and that kind of stuff. And again, what you can learn from introducing the limitation is, because necessity is the mother of invention, sometimes you'll come up with a new way to do something you would normally only do one way. Now you've got 2 or 3 ways you can do it, and the more of that you do, the more capable you are on your instrument, and the less often you'll get thrown, because you've just dealt with more possible situations. So string breaks, you know, fine, use a different string. One of my fingers hurts, fine, I'll use my other fingers. Just every time you do this, you're building a vocabulary of dealing with limitation-inducing situations, and then the next time they come up, it's not such a big deal. If every time you're just like, well, whatever, I'll quit playing bass until it gets solved somehow. My string broke during the song, I guess I'll just stop playing and fix my string while everybody else is still playing the song. You know, it's not as cool to me as what can I do with this limitation to learn from it. So that might be all I have to say. You know, whether it's a bass malfunction like the string thing, or a finger's hurting, or you don't have the same number of functional fingers that people usually have, just work with it, man. You'll probably invent something that nobody else has thought of, because everybody's using 2 fingers here and 4 fingers here, and, you know, playing bass and slapping and tapping and stuff. If you're working with the limitation and you move through it and use it to find a way for you to get the sounds you want regardless, you know, you might invent a new bass technique, and it would be a shame to starve the world of that by just thinking, whatever, I can't play bass because I only have 3 fingers here or something. Because it's really fun to play music, and I highly encourage it. That's why I'm here day after day. It's not for the prestige or the $1,000 bills wafted in through my air conditioner, because that's what rich people do with their air conditioners, I'm told. So I hope that this is inspiring to you. I like to do the occasional Tony Robbins inspirational video, and I think that attitude and philosophy are really important to musical development, just as much as woodshedding and technical stuff is. So those are my thoughts. I hope that they're helpful for you. If you'd like to support me in continuing to put out the bass message on YouTube, you can click here and check out my Patreon page, where I'll tell you more about that and the cool rewards you can get for supporting me there. And you can also check out joshfossgreen.com/books, where I have Beastly Scales and Arpeggios, and soon to come, my new Scales and Arpeggios book, which will be more of a bridge between beginner scales and crazy beastly scales. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. It's nice talking to you. Enjoy your bass, and happy holidays.